Welcome to the Easy English Podcast.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Sarah. I'm really glad you're here with us again. I have to be honest, today I'm feeling a little different. In our last episode, I was so cheerful and full of energy, but today I'm a little bit, thoughtful because recently I've been feeling something in my health. It's nothing too serious, don't worry. But it reminded me how important it is to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Daniel. And don't worry, Sarah is okay. She just wants to share something personal, and I think it's something many of us can relate to. Because let's be real, visiting the doctor is part of life. Sometimes we feel nervous, sometimes we feel curious, but it's always important.
Exactly. And that's why today's episode is special. We're going to talk about going to the doctor's office. What happens there? What do we say in English when we're not feeling well? How do we explain our problem clearly? These are things that can be difficult, especially if English isn't your first language.
That's right. So today, Sarah and I will guide you through a natural, friendly role play. We'll imagine Sarah as the patient, and I'll help out as the doctor, or maybe even the nurse. We'll show you how the conversation goes step by step.
And later in the episode, our friend Mishel will join us again. She'll help explain some of the more difficult vocabulary in a way that's easy to understand.
So, this episode is really about three things: learning useful English for the doctor's office, practicing how to stay calm when you explain your feelings, and remembering that health is something we all share as human beings.
Yes. And I'll just say one more thing. Sometimes talking about health can feel heavy or scary. But here, with all of you, it feels safe. We can learn together and maybe even smile a little along the way.
So, let's start. Sarah, are you ready to tell us about your little health situation?
Yes, I think so. Let's go step by step. Before we begin, I want to just share something from my heart. Sometimes when I think about going to the doctor, I feel nervous. Maybe you feel that too. But when I imagine sharing this moment with all of you, my nervousness becomes something else, like curiosity or even excitement, because it's not just me going to the doctor, it's us learning together.
That's really beautiful, Sarah. And I think that's what this podcast is about. Learning English is not just about words and grammar. It's about being human, sharing experiences, and helping each other through situations that sometimes feel scary.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so Daniel, before we jump into the role play, let's just talk a little about our own experiences. When was the last time you went to see a doctor?
Oh, good question. Let me think. I think it was about 6 months ago. Nothing serious, just a regular checkup. The doctor checks your blood pressure, listens to your heartbeat, asks a few questions. Honestly, it was kind of boring, but boring in a good way because it meant everything was fine.
That's true. Sometimes the best doctor's visits are the boring ones.
Exactly. And you, Sarah? When was your last time?
Mine was, last week I had a little pain in my shoulder. I think it was from sitting at the computer too long. The doctor told me to stretch more and take breaks. And you know what? He was right. But of course, I didn't listen very well at first.
That's very human. We often know what we should do, but then we don't do it.
Yes. And I think that's another reason why this episode is important, because we want to remind ourselves and you, our listeners, that health is a daily practice. It's not only about being sick, it's also about taking care of ourselves before we get sick.
That's a great point. And learning the right words in English can actually give you more confidence to take care of yourself. Imagine you're in a new country, you don't know anyone. But you can walk into a doctor's office and explain your problem clearly. That feels powerful.
Yes, it gives you confidence. And it makes you feel less alone. Because when you can communicate, you can connect.
So, friends, we'll go step by step. How to check in at the reception, how to greet the doctor, how to explain your symptoms, and how to listen to the doctor's advice.
And don't worry, we'll make it natural, not like a boring textbook. It will feel like a real visit.
Exactly, and as we go, we'll slow down and explain some of the useful phrases. Okay, so now let's imagine Sarah walking into the doctor's office. She pushes the door open, steps inside, and goes to the reception desk. This is the first step in many doctor visits. You have to check in.
Good morning, I have an appointment today.
Good morning. Yes, of course. Can I have your name, please?
Sure, my name is Sarah Johnson.
Thank you, Miss Johnson. And do you have your insurance card with you today?
Yes, I do. Here it is.
Perfect, thank you. You can take a seat in the waiting area, and the doctor will see you soon.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, friends, let's pause for a moment. Did you hear those phrases? They're very common in a doctor's office. I have an appointment today. Can I have your name, please? Do you have your insurance card? Please take a seat. These are all very typical sentences.
Yes, and even though they are simple, sometimes when we feel nervous, it's easy to forget them. So practicing now is a good way to prepare.
Exactly. And if you don't have insurance, you might hear something different like, do you have your ID? Or how would you like to pay today? But don't worry. Receptionists are usually very kind and patient.
That's true. So now, after waiting a little while, the nurse or doctor calls my name. Let's continue the role play.
Sarah Johnson?
Yes, that's me.
Hello, Sarah. Please come with me.
Sure.
Okay, before you see the doctor, let me check a few things. Can I have your weight and height, please?
Yes, I'm 62 kilograms and 165 centimeters.
Great, thank you. And do you have any allergies?
No, I don't.
Perfect. The doctor will be with you shortly. Please wait here.
Okay, thank you.
Now, friends, let's pause again. Nurses or assistants often ask simple but important questions before you see the doctor. For example, do you have any allergies? What is your weight and height? Please wait here.
Yes, and you don't have to worry if you don't know your exact weight or height in kilograms or centimeters. Just give your best guess or answer in the system you know, like pounds or feet and inches. The nurse can usually help convert.
That's right. Okay, now let's meet the doctor. Sarah, are you ready?
Well, a little nervous, but yes, let's go.
Good morning, Sarah. I'm Dr. Miller. How are you today?
Good morning, doctor. I'm okay, thank you, but I've been feeling a little worried about my health.
I see. Well, you've come to the right place. Can you tell me what brings you here today?
Yes. For the past week, I've been feeling very tired. I also have some pain in my chest when I breathe deeply.
Thank you for explaining that. And when did this pain start?
Maybe 5 days ago. At first it was small, but now it happens more often.
I understand. Do you have any other symptoms like coughing, fever, or shortness of breath?
I sometimes feel a little short of breath, yes, but no fever.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to listen to your breathing now. Please take a deep breath in and out. Good. And again, in and out. All right, thank you, Sarah. From what I can hear, your lungs sound mostly clear, but I'd like to run a quick test to be sure.
Okay, thank you, doctor.
So, friends, did you hear those useful doctor phrases? Let's highlight a few. Can you tell me what brings you here today? When did this pain start? Do you have any other symptoms? Take a deep breath in and out.
Yes, those are very typical. And sometimes when you're nervous, you can forget the simple words. But if you practice now, you will feel calmer later.
Okay, so now Sarah is in the doctor's office. The doctor has listened to her breathing, asked a few questions, and is ready to give some advice.
Yes, and this is where sometimes it feels scary because we want to understand what the doctor says.
Don't worry, Sarah. We'll go slowly. And remember, if you don't understand something, you can always ask, "Could you please repeat that? Can you explain that in simpler words?" Or even, "I'm not sure I understand."
That's very comforting. Okay, let's continue in the next part.
All right, Sarah, after listening to your breathing and asking some questions, I'd like to run a few tests just to be safe.
Okay, doctor, what kind of tests?
First, I'd like to do a blood test. This will check for any infections or other things that might be causing your fatigue. Then, I'd like to do a chest x-ray, just to make sure everything in your lungs looks healthy.
I I see. How long will it take? And is it painful?
Good questions. The blood test might feel like a small pinch, but it's very quick. The x-ray is completely painless. You just stand still for a few seconds while the picture is taken.
Okay, thank you for explaining.
Now, friends, notice how Sarah asked questions. Asking is very important, especially when you are nervous or don't understand. Some useful phrases are, "How long will it take? Is it painful? Can you explain that, please?"
Yes, and you can also say, I'm not sure I understand. Could you repeat that? Could you explain in simpler words?
Exactly. Doctors are used to patients asking questions, so don't feel shy. Sarah, I recommend you rest as much as possible and drink plenty of water. Try to avoid stress if you can. And if you notice any new symptoms like high fever, severe chest pain, or difficulty breathing, please come back immediately or call the clinic.
I understand, doctor. Thank you.
Now, friends, these sentences are very common. Doctors often give advice in this way. Let's repeat some key phrases. I recommend you rest as much as possible. Drink plenty of water. Try to avoid stress. If you notice any new symptoms, please come back immediately.
Yes, and if you are a little confused by the words, you can always ask like we just practiced.
Exactly. Okay, Sarah, now let's imagine the tests are done. You've had your blood drawn and the x-ray is completed. You're waiting for the results.
Waiting can be a little stressful. I feel like my mind starts imagining everything.
That's very normal. But remember, being nervous is part of life. And this is also a good moment to practice English. While waiting, you can talk to the nurse or even a friend. Do you know how long the results will take? Is it normal to feel nervous? Can I drink water while I wait?
Yes, even simple sentences help, and it feels good to express yourself.
Sarah, your test results look good. The blood test is normal and your lungs are healthy. The fatigue you felt may be because of stress and not sleeping enough.
Oh, thank you, doctor. That's a relief.
See, friends? Here's another useful phrase. That's a relief. You can use it whenever you receive good news, especially after worrying.
Yes, or you can say, I feel better now. Thank you for checking. I was a little worried, but now I understand.
Exactly. Now, the doctor gives Sarah a few simple instructions for the next week. Sleep at least 8 hours per night. Drink plenty of water. Eat healthy meals. Try gentle exercise like walking.
Okay, doctor, I can do that.
Notice the phrasing here. I can do that. It's a polite, confident way to confirm you will follow advice. Other phrases include, I will follow your instructions. Thank you, I understand. I will try my best.
Daniel, sometimes I feel nervous about remembering everything the doctor says.
That's very common, Sarah. A good tip is to repeat the instructions aloud or even take notes. You can say, so I should sleep at least 8 hours. I will drink more water. I should eat healthy meals and walk gently.
Yes, repeating makes it easier to remember, and practicing in English helps me feel confident.
Exactly. And if you're ever confused, you can also ask the doctor, could you write it down for me? Can you repeat that, please? Can you explain again slowly?
Yes, very helpful.
And now, the next part of the episode will be a vocabulary section. Mishel will join us and explain the most difficult words from today's role play. She will make sure you remember them in a simple, easy way.
I'm excited. Vocabulary is always so helpful. Sometimes I forget words in the moment, but hearing them again slowly helps me remember.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Today, we're going to look at some very useful English words and phrases from your visit to the doctor's office. Don't worry, it's simple and natural.
Hi, Michelle. It's great to have you here. I'm really glad you can explain these words because sometimes I forget them in the moment.
Yes, and that's normal. Let's start with some basic but important words you might hear at a doctor's office. Symptom. This means any feeling that shows something might be wrong with your body. Example, I have a headache and a fever. These are my symptoms. Fatigue. This is a fancy word for feeling very tired. Example, I feel fatigue after working all day. Allergy. This is when your body reacts to something like pollen, dust, or certain foods. Example, I have an allergy to peanuts.
Yes, and all of these words came up when Sarah was talking to the doctor. It's important to know them so you can describe your health clearly.
Exactly. Next, let's look at some phrases the doctor might use. I recommend you rest as much as possible. This means the doctor thinks you should rest. Drink plenty of water. This is advice to stay hydrated. If you notice any new symptoms, please come back immediately. This is very important advice for safety.
Yes, I like that phrase. If you notice any new symptoms, please come back immediately. It sounds serious but polite.
Exactly. And you can also practice it yourself if you want to remind someone else to be careful. If you feel worse, come back. Please contact me if you notice anything unusual.
Great tips. And what about some emotional expressions, Michelle?
Yes, these are very useful. So that's a relief. You say this when you hear good news. I feel better now. You say this when you feel less worried. Thank you for checking. Always polite to say to the doctor or nurse.
I like these. They make English sound natural, not like a textbook. Thank you so much, Mishel. I feel more confident already.
You're welcome, Sarah. Remember, it's okay to practice these words and phrases at home. Pretend you're at a doctor's office and say them out loud. It really helps.
Absolutely. Okay, now let's move on to some closing reflections. Sarah, would you like to start?
Yes. I want to say that today's episode reminded me how important it is to take care of myself. Even small symptoms can be important, and asking for help is not scary. It's smart. And I also feel grateful that learning English can help me express myself clearly when it really matters.
Yes, that's very true. And for our listeners, remember that going to the doctor can feel a little stressful, but with English phrases prepared, it can feel much easier. Practice, listen, and repeat. All right, friends. That's it for today's episode of Easy English with Sarah and Daniel. We hope you enjoyed learning English naturally while joining Sarah at the doctor's office.
Yes, thank you so much for listening. Take care of your health, practice your English, and remember, small steps every day make a big difference.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this episode with your friends who are learning English.
Bye, everyone. Stay healthy, stay happy, and keep learning English naturally.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next time.